Internet, it's Angel Michael, and welcome to today's news episode. And in today's news episode, we are going to be talking about EA canceling their open world Star Wars game. So, let's get right on to it. Alright, so if you didn't know, which a lot of us didn't know, on Tuesday there was a story that broke out by Kotaku.com where EA had an open world game of Star Wars that was supposed to be released in, I think, 2020. But that game got canceled because it was very early in development, according to Kotaku.com. Now, basically what happened was the main people who were in charge of this open world game were known as Visceral Games. Now, Visceral Games has been making the Dead Space series, but then they closed back in 2017. And then the EA Vancouver series then took that game, brought it to them, and then scrapped the majority of it except for the art concept. So everything that looks like it was going to be in the game stayed there, but basically Vancouver took their own storyline and they took their own characters you would play as, and they would throw that into there. So basically what happened here was Vancouver was going to be making this game, but by the time that it got to now where we are, basically what they said was by the time this thing comes out, it's going to be years before this thing comes out, like in 2020 or 2021. But they wanted to make a Star Wars game, another Star Wars game before the next generation consoles came out, which apparently they predicted was going to be 2020, 2021. And so they wanted to make a Star Wars game. But what happened was by the time 2019 came by, which is right now, it was really early in development. It was still not even anywhere close to halfway being done. So basically what they did was that they sat down, they said, okay, what are we going to do? So then EA Vancouver scrapped the idea because they were probably going to run out of time. But EA Los Angeles were working on their own Star Wars game. And they're the main people that made the Titanfall series. They're going to make their own Star Wars game known as Jedi Fallen Order, according to Kotaku.com. Now, I'm going to be referencing Kotaku.com a lot in this video, so if you want to check out that article, that is going to be in the description down below if you want more information. Now, basically, even what you have here is that this article has been updated about 2 or 3 different times, and so basically what happened was they really looked like as if this open world Star Wars game was going to be really good. You know, they were going to step it up far beyond what Battlefront 1 and 2 were, and they were just going to push it beyond what they needed to. But due to some time constraints, which this game was still in development around 2017, so normally if you are starting in 2017, you wouldn't expect anything until 2019, but apparently all of the big head honchos at EA were thinking, and they said, you know, maybe we need to make another Star Wars game before the next generation consoles come out, which to me is kind of a good idea, but at the same time, we don't really know when the next generation consoles are out, so it's kind of like shooting in the dark whether or not you should make a game or not, or what consoles you should put it on. But anyways, besides that point, basically what they were saying was they wanted to capture the consumers before they spend all their money on a new console. And obviously when people buy new consoles, the Star Wars games, the way they've been performing, have not been the games consumers go to when they first buy the consoles. And so what they wanted to do was that they wanted consumers to buy this game, so that way by the time people get their new consoles, they'll already have the game out, and people will be playing on the last generation consoles at this point. But maybe if they make it in time, then what they can do is that they would have a safety net under them. So let's say if, you know, on the new generation consoles, Star Wars wouldn't perform well, they would have a safety net if it performed well on the last generation consoles. But like I said, EA has not had a really good track record. And they've really not had the greatest of things with Star Wars either, with Battlefront 1 and 2. Battlefront 1, which I heard was really good, but then Battlefront 2 was just because it was like all nothing but microtransactions, you know. It's just like when I was playing that Risk demo, okay? Which, if you haven't seen that, go check that out. By the way, that game, you can only play for like 2 or 3 times. Not even in a day. You could play for like an hour and then they would force you to buy a demo. You couldn't even play the demo again. You literally had to pay $50 to buy the game just only having that one demo. But coming from another update from Kotaku.com, EA then put out a statement that said, "There's been speculation overnight about one of our Star Wars project. As a natural part of the creative process, the great work by our team in Vancouver continues and will evolve into future Star Wars content and games. We're fully committed to making more Star Wars games. We're very excited about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn, and we'll share more about our new projects when the time is right." So, basically, like I said, you had an open world game that they were making back in 2017. They had something going with them, but apparently, just like EA, they found an idea, but they weren't quite okay with that. So then they scrapped the original idea, kept the, the artistic styles to it, but then made their own game with it. But, like they said, they needed a game to come out before the new consoles. But Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, because Respawn was already making it and they're still making it, the time they have to make that is even better, which means they can get that game out done in a shorter period of time. So people can be hyped up about the game. And then if it's early enough into the process before the consoles come out, then the consoles can launch. And then EA can swoop in and have their own launch title for every game, if they wanted to. Not every game, every console if they wanted to. So, that's pretty much it for this news episode. Like I said, there wasn't really a whole lot to talk about except, this whole article having the bulk of the information. So, if you want to go look at the information, make sure you check out the link down below. And until next time, I'm Andrew Michael, and I'll see you guys next time. Thumbs up. This is just an outro.